Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of another movie podcast. I'm your host, Matthew, and I'm joined by my two amigos, Rico and Andrew. How are you guys today?
Hey, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
How are you?
Doing pretty solid. Doing pretty solid, Matt. How are you?
Fucking bitchin'. I am super excited for this episode. We had a short little hiatus, so that just gave me more time to build up anticipation for this. So I'm super excited for this episode.
Agreed. Agreed.
I've
But
been
yeah,
looking forward to this for a couple weeks just because I want to get it out of the way just so I can forget about it.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm right behind you, right there, Rico. Oh man,
yeah,
today's episode,
100%.
guys, is today's
Yeah.
episode, guys, is gonna be a doozy.
Yeah, no, seriously, I'm not I'm not even gonna, I'll acknowledge the elephant in the room. Like, for sure, all these movies suck, but we're gonna get through this. I echo everything Rico just said because there are some great movies that have come out recently. Like, for example, Everything Everywhere All at Once. We're not gonna discuss it here, but 100% it'll probably be in the next one, or for sure a future episode. Definitely warrants more of a discussion than this crap.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, yes, dude. Just the three piles of shit we're gonna be talking about today. Just man, they are piles of shit.
Oh, yeah, they are. And the first one we're going to be discussing is, well, I don't know. It's debatable, but in my opinion, I don't know. I always go back and forth, but it might be the worst one. But we're gonna start with Morbius, Jared Leto's Morbius.
Everyone's
Freaking
favorite comic book actor.
Oh, yeah, it's
yes.
such a great track record.
He gave his talent over to DC, and he was like, you know what, I gotta go do it over at Marvel now, and not just MCU Marvel. Freaking, there is a clear difference now in quality between Disney's MCU Marvel and Sony's Marvel. Like, there's just such a clear contrast now. Like, it's just blatantly obvious.
Yeah,
Oh
they really started drawing those lines in the sand. Just like with how the quality of this came out, you can obviously tell that they're just trying to make money off the name.
yeah,
And
and so
without. Oh, sorry,
go
Matt.
ahead,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was
No,
just saying,
I
like,
just
it's like they're. Okay, Matt, you go first.
I just wanted to introduce the movie really quick before we get too far ahead. Yeah,
Right,
Morbius.
right.
It stars Jared Leto. He basically is a scientist of sorts, and he's also suffering from, I don't remember, is it Parkinson's or something debilitating to his legs? I can't remember exactly. But he's trying to find a cure for his legs, and in doing so, he turns to bats, and in doing so, turns himself into a vampire because we really needed a vampire superhero because it hasn't been done before, and we clearly needed a, you know. Oh wait, well, actually, my bad. Scratch that. It hasn't been done bad before. It's been done fantastically before. Yeah, I had to correct myself there.
I
Yeah,
agree.
they were like, all right, hold my beer. I'm gonna try to stick this landing here, and oh boy, let's just say they fell down like a freaking 20 flights of stairs and did not stick the landing. Like, oh boy. Yeah, this is a stinker, guys. Uh,
Yep.
I
Yep.
I'm not a huge comic book guy. I know I've said that many times before. So, like, as a comic book person, I can see. I don't know. I don't see like how any comic book person could get any more much enjoyment out of this. I don't know. It just seems very. Yeah, it just doesn't seem true to the comics at all. And this is coming from someone who hasn't really delved too much into it. It just seems very. I don't know. It seems like a fucking like superhero movie we would have gotten in like 2003 or four. Like when we were getting shit like Daredevil and like Fantastic Four. Like, it feels like it's much more in league with those movies compared to the great stuff we've had coming out recently. Like the Batman and Spider Man. Like, I gave like such high praise to those movies, that have come out recently. Like it kind of injected more fuel into the superhero genre. And then you have crap like this coming out, and it just further dilutes it. And I'm just like, man, such a missed opportunity. Sorry, I rambled there a bit, but yeah, go ahead. What did you guys think?
Andrew, you can go first.
All right, cool. Sounds good. How do I feel about Morbius? Well, Jared Leto is clearly not allowed into the comic book movie club anymore because he had not one but two tries, and both times he failed. Because you look at actors like Chris Evans, who went from like Fantastic Four to the MCU's Captain America, and then you got Ben Affleck, who went from Daredevil to a pretty good performance as Batman. Granted, you can debate the quality of the movies he was in, but still, he gives a good performance. Jared Leto, in this case, both times he did not give a good performance. Like watching Morbius, just watching his performance, it just felt so kind of half baked. Like he was just like hearing some of the onset antics that he pulled, being Morbius and being Joker, just like, all right, man, you're not method acting. You're just being just extra in all the wrong ways. So it just kind of takes the enjoyment out of watching the possibility of a good Morbius movie. That's not what we got here.
Yeah, so I heard that he did some offset or onset like jokes or pranks or whatever. I never really got any info on what he actually did for this movie. Later on, we should probably talk about that because I want to hear about that just from what went on or whatever. But I gotta say, like, Jared Leto actually didn't seem like the worst part of this movie. And going into this movie, I thought he was going to be the key factor in why this movie did so poorly. But he was like, and by no means does he do like an amazing job, or I would say even a good job, but he's like the stronger actor out of the entire movie. And that's really saying something. That's actually saying something very negative about everyone else. And, oh my god, just the direction, the writing in this, and the visuals are freaking horrendous. It's, oh my god, I was seeing what they wanted to do, but their execution of it was just so bad, and it really just seemed like they just dialed it in. Like you could tell that with a lot of the fight sequences, you can't make sense of what's going on, and it's just a big blur that they just try to cover up with smoke to make it look less shitty. But my overall opinion of it is very poor. So, but what do you guys think of like the writing in this movie?
Go ahead, Andrew. I'm curious to hear about it from like a comic book person's perspective.
Well, it's not exactly it's not faithful to any kind of, because Morbius isn't a very special comic book character. He doesn't have any outstanding storylines in the comic books where you're like, oh, you need to read this storyline from Morbius, or you need to check out this comic book series about Morbius on something so important. He's just not a character you need to make a movie about. I mean, the most I would say you could give him is like an episode in like a Spider-Man television or series or a Spider-Man movie as like maybe a supporting villain, but he's not top tier enough to get a movie. So that already in it is like a big mistake Sony made. Like if you're gonna make a outlandish character, a very underwhelming character into a movie, you have to put effort into it. That's another problem with the movie. Like Sony's attempt to make Morbius an interesting character just doesn't work. There's nothing interesting about him. Even in the comics, he wasn't very popular within Spider-Man lore alone. So they were already shooting themselves in the foot by picking Morbius as a character to have his own movie.
Like, does it also kind of seem like that? Like, well, I mean, does Morbius have like a lot of source material? Like how Venom kind of has like some of his own comics. Does Morbius in any way have like his own kind of like storyline in his like own set of arcs?
I don't even.
I mean, that's kind of that. Yeah, not really. I mean, I can't think of anything that stands out. Like maybe there's something I don't know because I mean I'm not a big Morbius fan. Like I've read a decent amount of Spider-Man comics, but I'm sure there's something within there that I don't know about or I'm missing. But as far as I know,
So
he's
like,
not very popular.
Yeah, I don't even think he has his own standalone like comic series.
so why do you think they went with this? Like, I don't know, because like I don't know, it just seemed very out of left field. It was kind of like, all right, let's just see kind of like what we have in the barrel, or like, all right, let's put all our characters on a dartboard, and whatever we land on, that's what we'll go with. Like, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of source material here, honestly.
No, exactly. And it's sort of like Sony was trying to do what the MCU did with like Guardians of the Galaxy and Doctor Strange and Ant-Man, like lesser known characters and make them popular, except they just picked a character that kind of already doesn't work to put in live action.
Yeah, my like hypotheses on this shit is that basically they didn't want to take like a huge character that could be used in a Spider-Man movie like down the line. So then they were like, all right, well, what's another character that we could have to fill out numbers for a Sinister Six movie that could come out in like 10 years or whatever? And they were just like, Morbius, yeah, that's a perfect one. We're gonna have
Oh,
Blade
yeah.
coming out. Like that's gonna be a great rapport between them.
Yeah, I am so confused at this point, like what the hell Sony is doing with their own universe and set of characters. So, okay, like, okay, right off the bat, like, this is a full-on spoilers discussion, so we are going to get into the after credit scenes and whatnot. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
like,
I'm glad. Yes, yes. Let's
I
talk
want
about
to
those.
I want to
that's
talk about that so bad.
yeah, because like that's like where my main points are coming from because it, like I said, it just comes across as so confusing what they want to do. Like, okay, so the first after credit scene is I believe it's the Michael Keaton Vulture one. I could be mistaken.
No, that's correct.
Is the first one okay? Yeah, and
I mean,
because there was that one and then the second one, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of blanking on the second one, but the Michael
the
Keaton
second one,
one.
they're both the
Good.
same. Both the end credit scenes have Michael Keaton's Vulture in them,
Yeah, the
which is
first
Okay.
one.
even more confusing. It's more confusing.
Yeah, the first one is like, oh, he got teleported into this universe. He's
Yeah, in
free
a
to
jail
go.
cell, right?
Yeah, and then they're all like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's free to go. And then the second after credits, he has all of his gear. And he's like, what the fuck?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh
So
my
yeah,
god, that was so ridiculous. I was like, how, how is there a
yeah,
vulture in this universe?
Yeah, he
yeah.
got teleported in with only his jail uniform and his inmate uniform, and it's like, how did he get the funding or even like the time to do all this already? Like what?
Yeah, and it's just it further confuses like, all right, what universe is this in? And like I'm under the impression it's in the Venom universe, which is not a part of the MCU at all. But then they have Vulture in it, and so I'm just extra confused. And like, oh, another thing too is like literally there's a line in this movie where he says, "I am Venom." Like contextually, it doesn't even fucking make sense. Like that's like, who's that for? Well, I mean, I know by extension it's for us, the audience, but I'm like, really? Like, why have that line there? Like, it just doesn't fucking make sense.
That and then the scene where it was Tyrese Gibson's character who was in the FBI with his partner or whatever. And his partner mentions like, "Oh, we haven't gotten anything like this in San Francisco." I was like,
Yeah,
okay, so this is in the Venom universe, so it made it more confusing.
yeah,
Yeah, dude, and it's just like, what? Yeah, it's just further convoluting their own universe. Like they're literally shooting themselves in the foot. Like it just reeks of they don't know what the fuck to do at this point.
and a lot of it too is like the consistency with the Vulture coming into the universe. He's all like, he's just super cool with it. It's like, dude, you had a wife and a daughter, like in another universe that they're kind of your motivation, like your secondary motivation for doing the things that you're doing, and you just have no problem like being done with them, and now you're all Spider-Man crazy, and
Well, yeah, he also had an arc in that movie too. Like, what? He
Yeah,
just hates Spider-Man again?
yeah, dude. He at the end of it, he almost seemed like he was like kind of like looking out for Spider-Man. He was all like, when the Scorpion came up, and he's all like, I'm not gonna hurt Spider-Man. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On
man.
top of that, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, why was Morbius interested when he said intriguing to him? Because he was like, "Oh, I'm putting together a team, blah 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 blah, to do some good." And I was like, "Okay, so you want to do good, and you think that is killing Spider-Man? When in Spider-Man: Homecoming, you were kind of cool with him because he saved your daughter or whatever." So it's like, what what does that even mean? How does that work?
Yeah, and in
Yeah,
this universe, Morbius doesn't know who Spider-Man is. Why was he okay with
yeah,
that?
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
dude. Like he doesn't. He has no reason to be beefing with Spider-Man. Like he doesn't even know if Spider-Man exists. We don't even know if Spider-Man exists in the universe that he's in, and we don't even know what fucking universe he's in. So
That
what the fuck
actually,
is
hold
going
on.
on here?
That brings up, I'm actually glad you brought that up. That brings up like one point I wanted to bring up that's been really pissing me off, specifically with Sony, bro. So, like, do you guys remember in the advertisements for this movie how they had that Spider-Man poster in the background where it said like murderer,
Yeah,
and it was like specifically Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man poster? It's just okay. Okay, they didn't even put that in the final product. Like, that's just to me deceitful marketing. Like, why are you even going to put that in the advertisements if it's not even going to come to fruition? Like, even with that "I am Venom" line, like in the trailer, he was like, it's just your friendly Michael Morbius, and they cut that line out, but they keep the
Thank
"I am
God.
Venom" line, which doesn't even fucking make sense. So I'm just like, all right, like, damn, it could have at least been cringe with the Michael Morbius line, but they just went for just plain bad and not making sense. But
Hmm.
yeah, dude, I'm just like the marketing of this movie, or just Sony in particular with their Spider-Man movies, is just it's so deceitful, and it pisses me off because like I remember back when like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 first came out, literally, literally, the last frame of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is in that trailer. And it's just like ever since then, it's just been a really bad trend of just really shitty trailers and bad deceitful marketing. Like I don't get why they feel the need to trick people to go and watch this. Like, do you guys just watch this movie and you realize, well, damn, this is a big dumpster fire. Let's try to get as many people as we can in the first week. And I don't know, dude. It just reeks of really bad marketing, and it's just I don't know. I really don't like that deceitful nature of it.
Not to mention the whole Toby Maguire Spider-Man picture being in Morbius. It wasn't even like an actual picture of Toby Maguire. It was like a screenshot from the Spider-Man game for the PS4, and I was kind of like,
oh my
really? You're not even gonna try to use a legit one and Photoshop it? Really?
Oh
Oh
god,
my god, I didn't pick up on that at all.
I didn't. Neither did I. And I'm like, what? Oh god.
I'm telling you, watch that trailer again. Pause it right there, and you will see that it is not even a legit Photoshop of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. It's just a screenshot from the Spider-Man PS4 game. I'm telling you, it just why? It just didn't make any. This movie makes me angry, and I don't like it.
Yeah, the more you talk about it, the more it gets worse. And yeah, dude, I'm actually kind of well, I don't know. I'm very hopeful we don't get a sequel to this. The box office returns on this have been pretty bad, honestly.
Good,
Yeah,
deservedly so, man.
yeah, it's current. Well, I don't know. Well, I have to go over to Box Office Mojo, but on IMDb, it's listed that its worldwide gross is 148 million. So that's not good for a superhero level movie, like at all. Like that's definitely like on like one of the lower tier ends. But
Jesus.
the only thing that sucks about it is that they could potentially do a sequel because this movie was budgeted way more cheaper than the Venom movies. Like for example, like the Venom movies are clocked in at like 100 million to 120 million, while Morbius was clocked in at like 70 million for budget. So they definitely cut the budget on this one a little bit better. I mean, not like it would make the film any better if it had more money, but they could see a return on it potentially. I mean, it's still in theaters right now, so but it's dropping off week by week. So I'm really hoping they look at this and they're like, all right, well, we have to. I don't know, maybe give all this control over to MCU. Like, I'm just hoping, dude. Like, I really don't know if I can take another Sony dumpster fire in this universe. It's just, it's infuriating.
Yeah, with them, like, oh my god, they're not even like thinking like big picture with everything. Their main like focus is just, oh, let's just do the Sinister Six. Like everyone will tune in for that, but it's like if you're trying to like build up this whole like villain like organization with the Sinister Six, then at least like you have to make it like good, you know? Like you could be making so much money if you just like put actual time into it. Like I just don't understand the mindset behind that.
It's laziness, dude. Like, straight up. Like, like I said, I mean, okay, I know we've been talking about the character a lot, but like, just like honestly, like even if like, you know, this wouldn't be as hurtful as if like the directing or the action was better, but it's just so poor in every department. Like the cinematography so bland. Like freaking Rico mentioned earlier about the smoke trails and whatnot. Those don't look good,
Yeah.
and just yeah, and just the whole like even the directing too just has zero style to it. Like even in the beginning, like I thought I don't know, I was kind of interested. Like the intro, I thought what they were kind of going for like kind of like an '80s kind of like synthwave kind of sound, and I was like, okay, maybe this will be something, but no. It's only in the end credits in the beginning, and it doesn't play a particular theme in the movie at all. It's just like styleless.
Yeah, and that's like a running theme throughout Morbius. Like it introduces things, but never touches upon them again. Like with one of the biggest things for me, like it was just so I couldn't ignore it was like the whole beginning when he's at the hospital taking care of that little girl who has the same disease as him, and at one point she starts going into like cardiac arrest and like is dying, and his solution is to put her into a coma, but then we never see what happens to her after that. Just she's just out of the movie completely, and I'm like, what happened to the little girl he put into a coma? Is he not gonna take care of her now, or what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, the movie just does not give a shit whatsoever, and it's so weird too because like, isn't Morbius like a villain? Like a legit, just full on villain? Like he's not an anti-hero. Like is he a full on villain in the comics?
Thank you, Matt. Yes, that is the biggest, and excuse my language here, but biggest fucking problem with Sony is like they're making their villains heroes when they don't need to. Like the biggest problem with the Sony Marvel movies, along with that, is that these movies need to have an R rating. Like with
Yeah.
Morbius, like all the fight sequences, where was all the blood? He's a fucking vampire, and you telling me when he rips someone's throat off, there's no blood? Are you fucking kidding me? Like it just made
let's
sense.
get
It
away
made
from
no
that.
fucking sense.
Oh,
Especially with all the people on the cargo ship.
Yes.
Like that one
Oh
should have
my
been
God.
terrible. Like that should have been like a fucking massacre because he wasn't trying to restrain himself. He had no restraint the first time going through it, so he should have been like just dismembering people and like it just seems so like pussified in a lot of ways. Like more,
I guess, yeah.
he's like some sort of like immediately after that whole thing, he's just like, I'm a good person. I'm gonna remain a good person. He's just a hero. There's no like anti-hero. Like he fucked up one time, but you can kind of chalk that up to the fucking thing completely taking over him. But it's like he's just a straight hero after that. There's nothing sinister about him after it.
Not to mention
Yeah.
the sinisterness that they like bring into the movie is never like it's back to my other point. They never touch upon it again. Like I thought the movie was going to become a little interesting when they brought up the idea of like, oh, what does he do if he can't control the bloodlust or he runs out of artificial blood or real blood? Like, what does he do then? He starts killing people. Like I thought they could have taken that idea and ran with it, but they didn't. They like introduced the idea for like a quarter of the movie and then just throw it away like everything else. And I'm like, why are you making this movie? Who are you trying to please at this point? Yourselves? Because you're doing a terrible job.
Yeah, that's what I thought the whole like main climax was gonna be because the friend who turns out to be the antagonist of the movie sees him when he is like pretty much like trying to see how long he could go without blood, and he sees how bad it is for him. What I thought he was gonna do was like either lock him in a room with like some innocent people or lock him in a room with his love interest, and until he like gets to the point where he can't fight the thirst anymore. That was gonna be like Jared Leto's big like uh, like hurdle to cross over is trying to like fight himself and like control it. And I thought that was gonna be the main conflict in it was just himself, like overcoming himself. But they never touched back
No.
up with it.
There's no
They
moral
don't.
dilemma in this movie. They don't give a shit.
Mm-mm.
Like if you're gonna make him a hero, make him do some heroic shit to like oh it's not just me, like I have to do better for this person, like I can't think of myself and I will fight this. But if you're gonna make him a villain, just make him a fucking villain.
It would have
Like
been a much more
one or the
interesting movie.
100% it would have been like, and another thing that another idea that they brought up, but they don't really work with it anymore, was him like learning how his abilities work. I was like, okay, this could be something that kind of gets the movie's rating up from the lower score that it has right now. But no, it made it even lower because he always says is that like, oh, I have bat radar and I have super strength and I can do crazy flips and I create smoke when I fly and just like, okay, we know that from the trailers, but that's it. That's all you're gonna tell it. Okay, okay,
Andrew,
Sony.
you're
All right.
forgetting he can bounce a ball really fast.
You're right. His most important superpower, the ability to bounce a ball around the room and then catch it. That's peak cinema. Peak cinema right there.
All right, talking about that. Remember when he gets in that tube with all the bats, and he's all like having
Yes.
that moment, and it sound the
Uh-huh.
music that plays for that. It almost sounds exactly like the Dark Knight trilogy's main theme for Batman. And I was just like,
Oh,
this is
no.
such a rip. I was like, what the fuck?
You know what, Rico? I'm glad you brought that up because in my notes I put Morbius and the Bat Bros. Like because when he said, "Oh, the bats, they welcome me like a brother," I was like, "Well, what the fuck am I watching? What is this?"
what?
I fucking
Oh, that's
dude.
funny.
Uh,
Damn.
I swear, if nobody listens to this episode, I'm gonna just drink myself to death because this was not worth it.
Yeah, no, this one for me, like, it did provide some comedic value. Also, like, I do find enjoyment in talking about it with you guys as well. Those are the only things that get me through these movies, honestly. Like, freaking, I laughed so much during this movie. I mean, Rico's the witness. Freaking, my favorite scene was when we got a fucking Matt Smith fucking Spider-Man 3 dance sequence when he's
Oh
fucking
my.
changing and going through his transformation. I was like, oh, yes! Fucking, this is
Matt,
exactly
I
what the movie
literally
needed.
in my notes, Matt, I literally wrote, "Oh, so Matt Smith has a cool Tom Maguire dance too in this Sony Universal movies." Like,
Bro, straight
oh,
up!
dude.
Like, that's
Tell you, man.
exactly where my mind went.
Like, okay, all honesty, it seems like something that would actually happen, but it's something that you would do like alone in the room. You're just feeling yourself. You're like, dude, I can walk now. I can do all this shit. I can run. I can fly. And like you're just vibing to yourself, and it's as if someone would just like walked in the room and just started recording it. And it just feels so embarrassing.
Honestly, man. Like, the one thing I will say though, I kind of like the part in the movie. This is like one of the only scenes that I was able to be like, that's kind of cool. Was when they were fighting at the train station, and there's a moment where it's
Yes.
just like one continuous shot. That was like the only cool thing I could think of. But then again, it wasn't even that great. It just looked great.
Yeah.
That's like the best way for it.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, same here. That was like the gold nugget in this shit pile. I was like, okay, that wasn't completely awful. was
Yeah,
like, okay,
And I just wanted to,
scene.
that's the limit though. It's like it's not completely
that's all I
awful.
got.
It's passable.
Yeah,
That's the
That's all I
highest of
got.
the thing, like in terms of quality.
And and there's another point I wanted to bring up from my notes that that when Matt had mentioned about laughing during the movie unintentionally, I like the part where Morbius and Martine, like the girlfriend doctor, whatever, when they kiss. Like it cuts to Matt Smith's character just watching them, and I was like, "Bro, what the fuck? Why is he just watching them? Like that's fucking creepy." Jesus,
we're
Yeah,
we're watching
god
it live.
damn, man, 100%, man. That had me. I did not mind laughing out loud in my theater because I was the only fucking person in there, and I was like, I spent money on this. This is ridiculous.
yeah, Matt, you walked out like right when they kissed, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, you went to
Okay,
the
yeah.
bathroom real quick, came back, and basically they go up on the roof, and Morbius and the romantic love interest, and basically out of nowhere he just like kisses her, and it's like, oh, we love each other now. And it's like, what? There was like no dialogue
Mm-hmm.
really before that. They just like flirt one time, okay, kiss. And then like, oh wow, all right. Like and it's
Yeah, because
so
they need a love
janky.
interest.
Yeah, it was so bad. I was like, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah, and dude, Jared Leto and that other actress, she's a great actress. I can't remember her name right now, but they had like no chemistry at all. I was
Nothing.
just watching it.
No.
I was like, you guys just aren't it. I'm sorry. You tried. You did the best you could, but this ain't it.
It really was not, dude. Oh, Matt, I want to come back to this real quick. You remember that one scene where Tyrese Gibson and his partner find out they confront Morbius in the hospital?
Oh my god, yes.
Do you want
Yes.
to talk about that
Yeah.
real quick? You want to
Yeah,
give
oh
a
my
breakdown?
Bro, yeah, because no, it's so fucking funny because like oh my god, yeah, that shit was hilarious because oh my god, like basically Tyrese Gibson. I don't even remember his character's name because he's just playing Tyrese Gibson. So him and, him and his partner freaking they figure out it's Jared Leto, and so they go to confront him at the hospital, and then freaking basically fucking Jared. Wait, actually, my bad. Isn't it at the police station or?
I think it's actually the hospital. I think he's walking out and they stop him before he gets out.
Okay, well, I mean, okay, not like the setting matters all too much, but yeah, fucking. So basically, freaking Jared Leto turns into his vampire form, and then he basically jumps up like 20, 30 flights of stairs, and then basically like he makes it to the top. He's about to jump off the roof. Tyrese Gibson comes running out of the door at the 30th story, basically running from the bottom, and I'm like, dude, he literally fucking teleported. Like that, that was like 5 seconds. Like what the fuck? And he stops him. He's like, "Wait, freeze!" And he fucking stops him with a fucking gun. And I'm like, "Really, dude? You're like a regenerative vampire. Like, what?" I was just like, "Oh my god, are you fucking?" Yes, the gun's gonna stop him. Oh my god, dude.
When
That was probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, when we saw that in the movie theater, we immediately both looked at each other like, "What the fuck?" Like, he legit like jumps all the way up the building, and then he's like, "All right, all right, all right." Tyrese Gibson immediately right on his heels, like, "What?"
And I'm glad you guys brought that scene up because I wanted to bring up the scene that comes up after it, which is the interrogation scene.
Oh my god!
And they're just talking. They're interrogating Jared Leto's character, right? And Jared Leto's like, "I need the fake blood. I'm hungry. You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? They did not just do that. They did not just do that. Are you fucking serious?"
Dude, it's so
like
cringy.
let's make this scene more cliche.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my god! Like, hey, this is still technically a Marvel movie. Like, oh
Yeah.
god, dude.
And it's just
Yeah.
and just to go back to my point earlier about like this could have been like something good because we have been exposed to R-rated superhero movies I mean, it's been proven that it works. It makes money. Deadpool made over $700 million off of like a $30 million budget. Like that's like 30, nearly 40 times your budget back. Like I just there's no reason for it to come out this bad. Like it could, like, the R rating can work. It's been proven to. Like even Logan too, I think made over $600 million. Like they can
Logan's
work
amazing.
if you
Yeah.
just if you dedicate the right people to it. They will deliver a good product. Yeah, this just reeks of like, all right, let's just put it out. It's just a product. Like there's zero passion put behind this.
And the thing about
Yeah,
this is
this
that
is
and the thing about this is that Morbius is such like a like underdeveloped kind of character that you could have just made him like a start like the whole super villain genre where it's like I know we have that with Joker and a lot of those movies, but even those movies they sympathize with the character, or they make the character more sympathetic, and it's not even like they're a villain at that point anymore. It's still kind of like oh, I understand, they're just misunderstood. But if you went like balls to the wall and just made Morbius like, oh, this motherfucker is hungry. He wants to eat these bitches. Like he wants to feed off of like the little kid that's like struggling with the same rare blood disease that he has. But it's like if you made him just a straight villain, you could have had like a whole fucking genre just like, yeah, this guy's a problem. How is Spider-Man gonna have to deal with this guy later on? Like you're building up your main villain for another movie for a better payoff. It's like you could have done that.
Like I said, dude,
Morbius.
zero moral dilemma.
Yeah, Morbius is just like the prime example of like wasted potential because they could have made it good. They could have. I feel like if they put more effort. I mean, we've seen it with other comic book properties that aren't well known. You could make it work. Just have the right people behind the project. But this is like an obvious cash grab and just, oh, we're making, because let's be honest here. A lot of movies, even some of the MCU movies and DCU movies or whatever you, any superhero movies, a good chunk of them could be considered cash grab movies. But at least there's better quality to them. There's more effort put into it, and you could see that effort, and it shows in the final product. And this one just shows there was no fucking effort at all. It was just poorly done, poorly written. The editing is just it's all over the place, man. Like one of the biggest obvious things that I noticed with the editing was like how their mentor slash father figure, it was like Dr. Nicholas or something,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't find out about what's going on until like towards the end of the movie. I was like, you raise these two dudes basically, and you have no idea what the fuck is going on with them until the plot needs you to. That makes no sense. Why are you here then? What is your purpose? It just stuff like that.
Yeah, man. It's just you see throughout this entire movie, like, superhero movie plot beats throughout this movie, but they're just executed so poorly here. Because, like, and I like that you brought this up too, Andrew. Because, obviously, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, huge cash grab. It's for Disney. Like, of course, they want as much money as they want. Of course. But, there's some actual, like, effort being put into those movies. They, like, Kevin Feige, like, putting him in charge of, this project has just proven to work out very well. Like, don't get me wrong, every once in a while you get, like an Eternals or, like, a Thor the Dark World. Like, you do get, every once in a while, like, a bad MCU movie. But you don't get ones that are, like, like this level of atrocious of, like, Morbius and fucking Venom. Like, I don't think there's a single MCU movie that's nearly as bad as like this Sony universe. To be honest, like they just
Yeah.
I don't know what they're trying to do here. Like they need to do some type of major overhaul with these characters, or I don't know. Maybe just make them full villain characters. I mean, that's what I would want. I would just want them to do the full R rating, give these characters the proper justice, or just do something cool and unique with them. I mean, put them in the hands of very passionate and creative filmmakers that love this shit. Like, this just reeks of, like, all right, like, who's the director for hire that we can get for this? Just, ugh.
Yeah, it's like
Like I said, zero passion, no creativity. Like, they just pumped this one out.
yeah, it really does seem like it's like Monster of the Week too with how they're putting it out, because it's like if you make it like how I hate to like keep on harking back to the Batman, but with the Batman, they had like an entire universe. Like it was like all these characters already exist in this world, and it's like if you're dealing with Falcone, Penguin's like his underboss. If you're dealing with all these other people, like you have all the characters there already. They exist in this world, and it's like with the Sonyverse, it seems like they're only going to be introducing one at a time, like one at a time. If you had one person overseeing the entire direction of the entire project over the course of the time, you could be like, all right, well, because this happens, this also leads to this person coming through. Oscorp exists in this universe, and because Oscorp exists, these people work here, and then this leads to this, and it's like you could create the universe without having to say like undisclosed business organization does undisclosed business, which leads to this person having to go off shores to do this like undisclosed experiment. And it's like it's because it's nothing is ever said. Even Jared Leto's like blood disease, they don't even say what it is. It's just rare blood disease. And it's like they don't even like invest any time to shell anything out. It's like, oh my god, dude, it's there's no direction in it. And if they had all these characters already existing, then it could actually be something like really, really good. I just don't understand why they're thinking so short term with like Monster of the Week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I mean, I know we mentioned earlier about the after credit scenes. It just further convolutes what they're trying to do. Like, I don't know. I'm just at a loss at this point. Like,
Yeah.
is there anything else you guys want to talk about this movie? Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, yeah, you're good. I just remembered I was looking at my notes and stuff that I felt like wanted to talk about. That Spartan quote they kept using, the few against the many. I was just like, stop saying that. It's not going to be a thing. I don't care. Stop saying it.
Yeah, yeah.
Their,
This
I
freaking
don't know if you guys
reeks of
remember
like.
that.
yeah, that was their whole
I
with
don't.
yeah, with their great power comes great responsibility. It was supposed to be like their iconic line for the movie.
Mm.
Yeah, this just reeks of Jared trying way too hard. He's like, you know what, this is gonna like even like with the whole method acting thing. Because like by the end of this, like really, you method acted for this?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like, it just further like just makes him look even worse, dude. And it's so sad because like I have seen Jared Leto in really good stuff. Requiem for a Dream, like that's one of my favorite movies. He's fantastic in that movie. Freaking,
Dude, I was just talking to a friend of mine about that movie the other day. Oh, that's such a good one.
yeah, dude, and he gives a good performance in it. Like a lot of Jared Leto's earlier work isn't cringy. It's actually pretty decent. It's just like ever since like after his Oscar movie, I think it was Dallas Buyers Club. Ever since like after his Oscar, he's been doing like a lot of just really bad quality stuff. And I mean, it's even more so brought to the forefront because he's been in superhero movies now. Like when you think of Suicide Squad, a lot of your mind just goes to how bad that Jared Leto Joker performance was, and he's not doing any favors for Marvel over here with Morbius. So I don't know, dude. I'm just I'm kind of done with Jared Leto as an actor. It's just like I said, it's sad because he can be a good actor. It's just I don't know. It's just these movies just reek of his ego. Like I don't like it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
by any chance do you guys know of like any of the things that he did like on set? Because I
Yes.
never looked into it.
I know
Mildly,
a little bit.
but go ahead, Andrew. You sounds like you know a lot more.
Well, one of the main one that I heard a lot of was that because he was method acting and embodying Michael Morbius, he was walking around set on the crutches, like, and because he kept doing that, that kept like halting production because he would just literally, they would have to stop for like 20, 30 minutes just for him to go to the bathroom because he would just do it in the stilts or in the crutches he was using, or whatever.
Oh
So that just sounds like being a total dickhead for no reason. It's like you're halting a production, dude. People are here to work. Like, pull your ego out of your ass and just go to the bathroom and come back and walk in the crutches when they say action.
Yeah, you're no Daniel Day Lewis, bro.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of here.
you know that motherfucker didn't even have to take a shit or anything. He just went in
Uh-huh.
there just to do it, make it a scene. You know, he didn't actually
No,
have to go.
exactly. Like, what
Like,
the fuck is he doing? Is he like on Twitter or something in there? Like, what the fuck is he doing?
Honestly, it's ridiculous, man.
Do you guys want to? Do you guys want to talk about anything else about this movie, or do you guys want to get into ratings? There's one thing I kind of want to get into, but well, shit, I'll just bring it up. I really don't like
Go
the
ahead.
final fight in this fucking
yes.
movie. Like, it's just
Terrible.
it's so fucking terrible, bro. Yeah, like honestly, like this. I honestly don't think it's as bad as like Fantastic Four, the Josh Trank one, where they're fighting a sky beam. I don't think it's
Mhm.
that bad, but it's that fucking level, dude. Like, really, he fucking Jared Leto literally just beats Matt Smith with fucking CGI battles. Like, and it's so
Yep.
laughable because he's just like, ah.
Yeah,
I'm down my bad.
you and I looked at each other mid fight when they were crashing through the building and they fell for like 10 seconds, and it was just like you couldn't see anything going on. It was just rubble and smoke. Like, and apparently
Yeah.
they were fighting through it, and we just looked at each other like, dude, what the fuck is this? Like, anytime they
Yeah.
did like slow motion CGI, like they obviously looked horrible, but they would cover it up with that CGI smoke so it wouldn't look as bad, but you still knew that it was just a cover up. Like,
Yeah, and it's crazy because like Andrew even mentioned earlier, like that subway fight. Like, I mean, it's not like fantastic. It's not like fucking Captain America Winter Soldier status, but it's fucking it's decent. I was like, okay, like if all the fight sequences were similar to that subway sequence, honestly, I mean, I don't think I would have given this movie a pass, but I don't know, probably would have won up at least a point. Just the fucking action in this movie is atrocious.
It is. It's just terrible, man. Bad action, bad CGI half the time. And I wanted to bring up this point too because I wrote this in my notes during the final fight between Morbius and Milo. Like when the Bat showed up, I was like, "The Bat Bros have been reunited. It's begun." Like, it is, dude.
Yeah.
I can't with this. I can't with this movie. It was dog shit.
it was. And then, oh my god, did you guys count how many times they just randomly roared? And it was like, and it was like a lot of them, they didn't like change their voice on it, so it's just you hear, "Arr!" It's like,
Yeah, I heard that, dude. I'm glad I wasn't the only one who noticed that because I was like, "Wait, they're not gonna touch it up in post." No, oh, all right.
yeah, I think they even do that in the interrogation scene where he's sitting there. I think he just goes like that, and it's like, fuck off. Like, that's so embarrassing.
Like that's where you got to give Tyrese Gibson and that other dude who played the detective props for their acting because they didn't fucking just laugh in Jared Leto's face when he like hissed at them like he's a fucking vampire.
Like, oh my.
Oh man,
And then all the use
I would
of
love to see that cut of the film.
yeah, dude, all the
Mhm.
use of like the CGI like on the face where it's like where out of nowhere he just goes and then his face changes for like a second and then goes back. It's just so sci-fi channel, dude. It looks so
Mhm.
bad, like some that like a low time YouTuber would do as like a special effect. Like,
Yeah,
this is supposed to be like a fucking like trend setting like like uh blockbuster movie that's gonna like kind of like lead into something huge later on, and it's like, and it's also tied to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like how are you gonna bring that kind of bullshit? Like, either don't use
Yeah.
that face or just use practical effects and just reuse that face over and over, because you can reuse all these like masks and like practical effects. You don't have to just waste your time with like this really shitty, bad looking CGI.
Because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Like prosthetics cost more money. That's another thing. This movie's just a fucking cash grab, but it's trying to spend as little money as possible while making it.
yeah, fucking garbage. Yeah, I'm honestly done with this movie. Honestly, guys, I'm done to move on to. I mean, yeah, I'm done to move over to the turds in the wind.
Yeah,
Famous
That's a
quote
great
from one of those
segue.
movies.
yeah,
Great
we don't
segue.
have much to look forward to, but would you guys like to get
But
into
yeah,
ratings?
Yeah, let's get into ratings.
yeah. Okay, I introduced this movie. I'll go first. Yeah, bad directing, bad cinematography, bad acting, bad writing, just reeks of Jared Leto's ego. Fucking, this entire movie is just, it's garbage. I mean, I honestly don't think it's like one of the worst superhero movies ever. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely in that ballpark. It's definitely in that range. But I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as like, I don't know, probably like Wonder Woman 2 or something like that. But yeah, this is a big pile of turd right here. I don't recommend it. You could waste your time with any other movie, honestly. I give it a 3 out of 10. What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't even want to rate this movie. That's how much I don't like it. But if I have to give it a rating, I'd probably give it like probably a two. It's just it's too poorly done. It's too poorly acted, too poorly edited, just too much bad for one movie to have. So it's getting a 2 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, for me, dude, I was borderline gonna say one. Like I hate this movie because it's so boring. There's no fun to be taken from it. Like
No.
the fights are not good. You can't see what's happening. The acting is fucking atrocious. The writing is even worse. Like there's nothing, no fun in this movie. Like that, there's no jokes that land. Like there's just nothing. You know what? I gotta say one. I hate this movie because even if it's like, even if it's like it's supposed to be a villain movie, it doesn't even do a villain at all. Like there's, based on this movie, there's nothing villainous about Morbius's character. Like he's a good fucking person that wants to protect people. Like just make him a fucking villain. Like I don't get it. Yeah, this is fucking one, dude. Could have been something cool, but it wasn't.
Well, there you have it, folks. 1, 2, and a 3. I mean, I'm giving it a 3. I mean, only for the sole purpose that it did make me laugh. It brought some comedic enjoyment to me, even though it wasn't in the intended way that they wanted it to be. So, yeah, fucking awful. Never gonna watch it again. And yeah, you guys ready to move on to Venom?
Please.
Let's do it.
Okay. Alrighty then. Our next discussion, our next discussion is going to be on 2018. I'm very sure. Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, 2018.
So, I introduced Morbius. Do either of you gents want to take a crack at this one?
You know what? I'll do this one.
Go for it. That's all
sure,
you
dude.
go. I'll do the last one.
Yeah, I'll let you handle
Best
that
for
one.
last.
So Venom is going to be based off of the first iteration of Venom, based off of Eddie Brock. This one's going to be following Tom Hardy portraying the character, and during this one, pretty much they have to rewrite his entire story because you can't really have Venom without Spider-Man, and because of that, they have to just kind of like, I don't even remember how the Venom symbiote gets introduced in this movie. Do you guys remember how it was introduced?
Holy shit. You know what? Damn, you hella put me on the spot right there. Honestly,
Got you guys. I remember. I got you.
go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
So I will admit, when I first saw Venom, I actually kind of liked it. And the reason that is was because I was a young boy, and Venom is one of my favorite comic book characters. So my brain, similarly to what I did with Justice League, was that I forced myself to like it because I was like, no, it's Venom. It's not bad. It's fun. It's a fun movie. It's cool. I like it. And then I got older, and I was like, no, this movie's dog shit. But basically, what happens is the main villain, Carlton Drake, portrayed by Riz Ahmed, who is a great actor, and he is very much wasted in this movie. had sent a rocket into space or something like that, and the spaceship was crash landing, and in it
Oh.
were a couple of symbiotes. One of them was our main boy Venom, and along with that was our antagonist Riot. He's like Venom, but he's gray. Yeah.
Okay. Holy shit. Yeah. Honestly, like when soon as you were explaining that, I'm like, okay, it started to come back to me. That you're right. Oh man.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up the point too, like freaking like all these movies too. They basically have the same villain. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
basically just the same character as our protagonist, just a bad version.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
Like
is.
what the fuck? Like why? That's lowest common denominator, least creativity you could approach this with. And for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, this first Venom movie just I don't know. It has a very high audience score for some reason. Like there's like a good amount of people that actually really enjoy this Venom movie for some reason. Like I just really don't get it.
That's just
Mm-hmm.
childhood nostalgia goggles just blinding them from how shit it actually is. Like I was the same
Yep.
way as Andrew. I was like, this is gonna be amazing. This is gonna be sick. And I was like, it wasn't like where it should be, but they had to like cater to all the changes that were had to be made about his backstory. They had to do all this stuff, but it comes a point where you just keep watching and you're just like, nah, this is pretty shit. Like they could have done it so much better.
Yeah, fucking. And as a person, like I've said, I'm not the big comic book person. Just on a surface level, like this movie is just so again, it kind of harkens back to like that early era of superhero movies, like that 2003 2004 era, like Daredevil, Catwoman. Like again, it's like in the ballpark with those movies, but for some reason, like I don't even know how, but like try to guess how much this movie made. Unless you guys already know, then I'll just tell you.
Oh, I didn't see it yet.
Mhm.
I'm
Do you
gonna.
know, Andrew? Do you know how much it made?
I did when I was into it, but I don't remember now. Um, I'd say maybe like I don't know, 100 mil. Is my guess. Maybe more.
Oh, for gross,
Yeah.
it grossed over $800 million
Oh my god.
Good
with a
Lord! Now it just hit me. Oh my God.
yeah, it almost made $1 billion basically.
Oh
This
no.
Venom, like like I said, like
Mm.
I know you, I mean I know you did say like some of it is like childhood goggles, but like I don't know. Like I said, I have come across people that actually do enjoy this movie, like on like a love level, and it's just I don't know. It is just one of those movies where I do just have like a huge disconnect with, like in terms of like like how audiences perceived it, because it's just it has a high kind of has a high audience rating, but critical it's very like oh the critics are they don't want you to watch this, but like I don't know. There's just I don't know. It's weird to me.
Yeah. It is very like I don't know. And as like a huge Venom fan from his comic books, it's not a good adaptation of him at all. It's just they could have like it's kind of like what Rika was saying. If they were gonna make an origin story with him without having Spider-Man, they could have done it so much better if they put more effort into it. But this was like the start of Sony's Marvel movies of being like, we're gonna change things and not put that much effort, but we'll still kind of try. And then Venom 2 was we're not gonna try as hard because the first one made so much money. And then Morbius was like, we just don't give a fuck anymore. Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my biggest gripe about this, the first Venom movie, is that they changed up his backstory, like how they became like a pair. And if you take out Spider Man, you take out the common enemy that both Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote had. So it's like,
Hmm.
because if you take out Spider Man, Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock isn't like filled with rage or anything or wants revenge. And it's
No.
like, so it's like immediately they don't have that point where it's like, we have a common enemy. We both hate this person. Let's work together to do this. And then eventually, once they start realizing that they're getting past their anger for Spider Man, it's like then the faults in their relationship start like becoming more apparent. But it's like they didn't have like any actual like reason to even be together other than I'm gonna
At
eat
all.
your organs unless like you do what I tell you to do. And it's like there's no like there's no common interest and then like realization later on that this thing's actually a symbiote. You know, it's like it's a parasite. It's not like a friend to you.
Yeah, exactly. I also feel like they had no real relationship in the movie. It just felt like, oh, this movie's about Venom and Eddie, so here you go. But you don't really feel their, I guess, relationship kind of being realistic in a way. Like you don't feel them being like, oh, we are Venom. You just feel like it's Eddie Brock and Venom. You know what I mean? Oh, I feel like
Yeah,
Rigo kind of gets it, just in terms of like as a comic book fan, like because you know how they are, kind of
yeah.
symbiotic.
They're not a team, like not at all. Like
Hmm.
one's in
They don't feel like
control,
that at
the
all.
other one is just like a puppet for the other one.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, what about you, Matt? What are your thoughts on that? Their whole relationship with each other.
It just feels like, I mean, it's like what you said earlier with the Morbius discussion. Like, it's clearly an evil character that they're just trying to make good. They're just trying to write him in a way of like, all right, well, let's make him more comedic. That'll make people like him, right? Like, yeah, it's just like, man, you do. It sucks too because, like, especially in this movie, like, I hate the way this one is edited, particularly because the action I think the action is probably the worst in this movie. Maybe like either this one or more. To me, this one and Morbius are tied in terms of like the quality of action. Like
Hmm.
the action in this movie is so fucking bad. Like it's literally just two dark matter. Well, I should say like two like goop, just blobs fighting against each other in an already dark setting. Like it looks so fucking bad, and it's just like why? Like I just I don't understand why they chose to do that because it doesn't look great. It's not like the second one
No.
where like I mean I'll just say right off the bat like Venom 2 I do think is a little better. Like they're both shitty, but I do think it's a little better because at least Carnage is a different color. There's a different contrast there. At least you could slightly tell the action apart better in that movie compared to this one. Like this one is just pure, just it's just an eyesore to look at, honestly.
Yeah. The only like two or like I guess there's three good things I can say about this movie. So I kind of enjoyed the part when Eddie and Venom first are when they first fuse together, whatever, and they break into his apartment, whatever. Like the main villains like henchmen break into his apartment. And I like that sequence where like Venom kind of takes control. Like I like that idea. Just that scene should have been done better. You guys remember that scene?
Yeah, yeah. Didn't he have to fight them? And then he's like, oh my god, what the fuck?
Yeah, like that's cool. Like I think that's a cool idea. It wasn't really done well. That and I will say I liked when Venom first like when he first transforms into Venom when he gets hit by the car or whatever when he's on the motorcycle and then he makes that reference to the comics where he's like, ooh, eyes, lungs, pancreas, so many snacks, so little time. Like that's something he says to Spider-Man in the comics when like one of their first initial fights, I think. So I thought that
Okay.
was cool, and like the transformation sequence was cool to see. And then I also liked the part when they were like breaking into some building or something, and they reach like a really high floor, and Venom's just like jump, and then he just looks out the window, and then he goes to the elevator, and Venom's like pussy. Like I like that. That was funny, but that's like the only three good things I could come up with about this movie.
Yeah, and the thing is too, if this is a movie that suffers from not being rated R. Like
Hmm.
Yeah.
if it was rated R, you didn't have to cut away from all this like vile shit that he was doing. Like he could have been shown like eating people's fucking arms or just like going at like just tearing people apart. And you if you see Venom who's super fucking human. Like, this dude is hella strong. You see him just tearing people like fucking tissue paper, like that would be fucking off-putting, dude. That would be unsettling, and it's like they should have done that. Like, I I don't know if they still would have made the amount of money that they made, but people would highly regard it, and then the next movies that came up afterwards would make a lot more too because of it. It's like
Yeah,
they just need to loosen the reins, dude. Like superhero movies or comic book movies, I should say, are not just for kids anymore. Like there's such a huge audience that grew up with these in the 90s, in the early 2000s, that they're adults now. They will pay to see it.
yeah, and like I was saying earlier about the editing, like they're like it's so obvious when like there's like a very violent scene about to happen where he's like dismembering somebody or like biting their head off or whatever. It just cuts away. Like, all right, yeah, well, like it's heavily implying that it's happening, but it's not showing it, and it's just so fucking sterile and so tame and just so restrained. Like, I really don't know why they went with that decision. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, honestly, what the fuck do I know? The movie made over $800 million. I mean, clearly there's like an
Clearly,
audience for people like this. So I
like
don't know, man.
there's just this big disconnect that we have. Like we just don't get it, guys. We don't get Venom. We don't get it.
Yeah.
Apparently, like I guess we don't
Yeah.
understand all the subtleties of Tom Hardy's comedic performance. Yeah, we just
Oh,
don't
of
get
course. No, not at all.
Okay. All
But
right.
what I will say is, I like Tom Hardy. I like Tom Hardy in the movie because you can tell he's having fun. But that's like
Me
the
too.
other. I guess that's the only other thing. All right, that's it. No more nice things about Venom. Venom was bad. I don't like Venom. I don't
Okay.
need to fall into this trap again.
Yeah. Okay. What
Yeah.
did you guys think of the romantic love interest going on?
Didn't care. Did not care at all.
Did not care.
It's tacked
By the
on like all
way,
these Sony movies are.
by the way, why is Dan there? Why is the boyfriend there? He brings no relevance to either one of the movies, one and two. He's just there. Like Dan, why is Dan here? He does not need to be here. Sorry, Dan.
Nope. Yeah, like even the audience doesn't like Dan. No one likes Dan.
Like, it's sad, dude, because it's like I don't understand why they went in this direction for Venom. Like, if they just focused on Venom doing Venom things instead of being like, oh, I really like this lady, and Venom's all like, the symbiote is all like, yeah, I like her too. I like her more. You should go fuck her. Like, you should go copulate with her, and like doing all this stuff. And I'm just like, bro, okay, we have an entire like intro movie for Venom. Let's do some Venom shit. We don't need to make this like this kind of movie. Like, come on, like, what's with this fucking humor? What's with all these things? Like, let's just go for it, dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
but I also
man.
want to bring up. I wanted to bring up the end credit scene with Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy. When I first saw it, even though I forced myself to like it, I just couldn't ignore how bad his wig was. I was like, he looks like Raggedy Ann
Yeah.
on crack. That is how he fucking looks. I was like, why? Why that wig? Why?
No. Oh yeah, no. I'm glad you brought that up. No, it really stood.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does not suit Woody Harrelson whatsoever.
I'm really
And
sour.
spoiler alert.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. But like, spoiler alert for Venom 2, his hair doesn't get better. It doesn't.
Like,
Yeah, no.
I'm really sour over the choice of having Woody Harrelson play as Cletus Cassidy. I really like him, but it's like I know where his range goes. I know he was in Natural Born Killers and all of these like super violent movies with Zombieland and everything. I know that he's a very physical character that can do these kinds of movies, but I mean, Cletus Cassidy, I feel like he has to be more like Joker-esque, you know? Like,
Oh yes, yes.
like he's a fucking like he's not this like I don't know, in the movie it just seemed like the stereotypical like I love death, I will do everything I
Hmm.
can to cause carnage.
Hmm.
Like it was just like, come
Oh yeah, we
on.
should. Wait. We should say that for Venom 2 though. The Venom 2 talk. Should we just
Oh, I was
Yeah,
talking about the end
I
things
credit.
completely
Yeah,
done
agree.
and then just hop into Venom 2?
yeah.
Yeah, I was about to
Because I feel
say
like we've
we
all.
can wrap this one up whenever. Trust me, I'm not
Yeah.
losing any sleep over this discussion.
Oh, me neither. I mean, because I feel like we're already kind of segueing into Venom 2, so let's just hop on ratings and then I'll introduce Venom 2.
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah, Rico, you introduced this movie. You wanna rate it first?
Well, I didn't really do much of an introduction. I mean, but with this
No, it's
movie,
okay.
I really liked it when I first saw it just because of Venom. But watching it and being like, oh god, dude, I slugged through it. I have to give it like a 4, man. Like, I still love Venom as a character. In this movie, it's not Venom though. Andrew, you want
Bang,
to go
four
with
out of
it?
10.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Andrew. You go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm on the same boat as Rico. I first saw this movie, I thought I liked it, and then I'll rewatch some scenes beforehand for this because I didn't get to watch the full movie again. I'm kind of glad I did it because the scenes I watched were just wow. So I'm probably gonna give Venom a 3 out of 10. It was just not good. Not a good time. Would not recommend it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I'm echoing all the same thoughts that you guys are. Like, honestly, like the only enjoyment that I found out of this was probably like Tom Hardy's performance. Like you said, you could tell he's having fun with the material, so that that gives it a little bit more value to me. Everything else, though, I can't really give high praise to. Like, this is just a product of a movie, just the most
Yeah.
standard everything. It's just so bland, dude. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It doesn't like. It's not like the rating matters too much because it's low either way. But I guess I'll land on a 3 as well. 3 out of 10. It's really bad.
Very bad.
Very, very bad. All right.
Some would
Let's
say
hop
some of the
into
worst.
Venom 2. Yep. Oh yeah, 100%. All right, let's do this.
Go ahead, Andrew.
The next movie we're talking about, guys, is Venom 2. Let There Be Carnage. And the movie is pretty much in case you didn't know, it's a sequel to the first Venom movie, and it follows Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock and Venom learning to work together as a superhero team. Wow, so fun! And it also follows Eddie Brock kind of investigating murders that Cletus Cassidy was involved in because at the end of Venom 1, Cletus Cassidy wants to talk to Eddie Brock because he likes him or whatever. I don't know why he's talking to him, but he is. So we'll just run with that. Venom 2, guys. What did we think?
I'll be honest. Like, I do eventually want to hear what you guys think of 3, but out of the 3, I do think this one is probably my favorite of the shit trilogy. Yeah, like I don't know. I guess I mean don't get me wrong, it's still bad. It's still on the same level as all those other ones. I guess the only thing that I give this a little bit more praise is probably some of the action. I do appreciate that Carnage is at least a different color. He's red, going against blue, blackish, whatever. There's a
Yeah.
contrast between the villains in this one, where compared to the other two, it's just like black on black in a black setting. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it looks fucking awful. At least in this one, they're in a slightly brighter setting. Spoiler alert, at the end when they're at the church and they're fighting. I thought that action sequence was okay, but this movie still does suffer a lot from what the first movie does. Like, it still has a lot of those same editing problems. When the violence is about to happen, it cuts away. It's still very sterile. Still pretty bad, but I do think it's a tad better than the previous one. But I don't know. What do you think, Rico?
All right, so with this movie, oh my god, dude. So I hated the interpretation of Carnage. Like,
Yes,
so
I will just back
much.
you there. Hmm.
Oh my god, dude. So for me, this I just did not enjoy a lot of this movie. The only part that I actually enjoyed was when Carnage was rampaging through the prison. I thought that was fucking awesome. I thought that was gonna set up like a sick fucking like tone for the rest of the movie. But oh man, I just they totally took Carnage out of the Carnage. Like they made him like a love interest, and they were just like doing all this stuff, and like it's the same gripe that I have with Venom from the first movie. It's like this is like Carnage. This is a world threat, dude. Like this is like a freaking terror that needs to be dealt with, and like he just seems so like it's so disappointing that he was taken out so seemingly easy. It's like this is the guy in the comics where Captain America, Venom, Spider-Man, Morbius all had to team up in order to take Carnage and his crew down. And it's like good god, dude. I just don't understand like how they just like take Venom's like biggest like if you're gonna think of it like in terms of like that, Carnage should have been like a recurring character. Like he should have been Venom's like big guy, but it's like they just killed him off. And dude, I strongly dislike this movie for that reason.
Yeah,
I
what do you think, Andrew? Go ahead.
I fucking hate this movie with every fiber of my being. And it's exactly the same reason why Rico dislikes it so much because of Carnage. Because they went from Cletus Cassidy, Carnage, the insane psycho killer who does not care about life whatsoever, and they turned him into a fucking simp.
Yeah.
And that made me so goddamn angry. Because if you read any kind of comics with Carnage, like the most recent run, Absolute Carnage, where he is literally a world-ending threat, and it took Venom teaming up with the Avengers and like half the Marvel comic universe to take him down, and you turn him into a fucking simp played by Woody Harrelson, fuck you. Just a giant fuck you to Sony, because this one is like my most despised comic book movie in general, aside from like Joss Whedon's kind of Justice League. This is a dumpster fire that does not deserve to exist, but it does, and it makes me that much more angry.
And it's interesting too that you bring that up. That like, well, both of you brought up the point that like Carnage is basically a world level threat to the point where like multiple superheroes need to unite in order to take care of it. It's what's interesting because in my notes here, because this really stood out to me because I was like, wow, really? So Venom 2 is apparently the second shortest live action superhero movie to be made, behind Fantastic Four 2 Rise of the Silver Surfer. This movie is clocked in at like 98 minutes, I think, and then the Fantastic Four movie is like 91. But the point I'm trying to make, though, is that, like, really, like, considering that Carnage is such a huge level threat, you're going to give him, like, one of the shortest superhero movies ever. Like, what? Just to, like, further, like, you know, put salt in the wound. Like, wow. Like, it just harkens back to your guys' point that they just do not give a shit about this universe or these characters. They're just like, okay, just put Carnage in the movie because that'll get the comic book people in their seats. And then they fucking give this to you guys, and, you know, it's a fucking giant pile of shit. And it's fucking, it's, okay, another thing, too, like, it's just, the whole critical reception on these movies are, you know, they do range in quality, but they do range in, like the 60% range or the 6.0 range for IMDb. I don't know, for some reason, Venom 2 has, like, way higher ratings in terms of, like, the critical reception and the audience perception. Like, it's higher on this movie compared to the first one. And it's, I don't know, like, I don't know. Again, the whole, like, critical reception and, like, the audience perception to these movies are so weird to me. Like, especially the audience. Like I said, there's so many people out there that love these Venom movies for some whatever reason.
And you want
Like,
to know?
I know it's not you comic book guys, but, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of them maybe are. I don't know. I don't know why these Venom movies are highly regarded. I don't know why they make so much money either. Like this fucking Venom movie made over like $500 million. Like Jesus
Oh my
Christ,
gosh.
this is where they keep getting. Uh, you guys keep fucking like, or I mean, I know not you guys, but like, there's just so many people that fucking probably repeat watch these movies or something. Like,
Yeah.
they're
Mm-hmm.
just fucking
They just
trash.
And the
and I'm glad you understand that, Matt, because as a comic book fan, I'll let you go right now, Rick. I just want to say this. As a comic book fan, just watching these movies, you're like, why? Why are you doing this to me? You have my money. Just why are you making me pay to suffer? I don't
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand it. What were you gonna say, Rico?
all right, so I think it's actually really interesting how both me and Andrew like completely take a shit on this. Like we actually hate this movie because we know the character from the comics, and Matt's knowledge of Carnage is a little bit more restricted because he doesn't read the comics like how we do. But it's like if you know Carnage, you know that this is not Carnage. Like this is like, oh my god, dude! Like, and that's like what should bring the movie down so fucking low, dude. Because did you say that this one has better ratings than the first one, or did you say it had worse?
Okay, so here's the ratings. I'm just going to provide Venom. Venom 1 on Rotten Tomatoes has a 30% critic and a 81% audience. And then for Venom 2, the Rotten Tomatoes is 59%, so it has a huge bump in critics, and then the audience is 84%. So there's also a bump in audience as well for Venom 2. So
That makes
yeah,
me
dude.
very, very angry. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Venom 2 nearly. Yeah, so the first Venom has 30% critics, but the second one has 59. So that's nearly like twice as much increase for Venom 2 with the critics. Like I said, dude, there are a good amount of people that do love these movies. And it's so it's just like I said, it's just one of those disconnects where I'm just like, what? Like, what do you guys get out of this? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've talked to a few people where I've, well, not even a few people, probably like one or two people, and that do enjoy these movies a bit more. But I've just heard that they just find them funny, and I'm just I don't know. I don't know. I don't get that. That's just like I don't know. Like I said, I know I'm like the more surface level fan here, but like even then, I don't get any enjoyment at all. Really, like it's not funny. The action is standard. Like it's just your very typical run of the mill superhero crap. Like there's just nothing special here. I don't get why so many people, cater to this one.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
really
I
interesting that
mean,
you say that too, because I am like curious how someone that isn't like too familiar with the comics would come into this like as just like a casual like fan of movies, like kind of going into that. I would love to see like how it was for you, just because like for I already know how I feel about it. I already know like how Andrew feels about it. Like I would like to see it like if you didn't know who Carnage was going into it and then having like completely blind like oh so this is what Carnage is all about. Like would you still find it enjoyable like the things he does? Like just a lot of it just seems like I think if you're going into it just wanting to see like a movie. I can't even. I don't even know what kind of genre this would fall under. Comedy, horror, drama. I don't understand where their tone was supposed to be at either. Like,
Do you
cause
guys know who
yeah.
directed this movie?
no,
Andy Serkis, and it makes me very angry.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, Andy Serkis directed this movie. I mean, not like he's like a prolific director, because I think the only other movie he's directed is that Jungle Book remake, not the Jon Favreau
Yeah.
one for Disney, but he
Mm.
did like his own interpretation of the Jungle Book for Netflix, I believe, a few years back. But
Yes, he
yeah,
did.
Andy Serkis directed this.
Hmm. And I kind of get why, because when you watch his Jungle Book movie, you see like the visual effects are really well done, like they're really good, and the movie isn't like half bad to me. It's a decent movie. I actually kind of liked his Jungle Book movie, which was kind of made me kind of excited. I was like, oh, if he's doing it, I mean, his Jungle Book movie didn't suck, so maybe he could bring some life into this movie, and he doesn't, and that bums me out a lot because I like him as Alfred in the Batman, and I like him as Gollum and Caesar. He's great, but not here.
Yeah, not the best director. Just stick to acting, my dude.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah,
So,
it was pretty.
I am a little curious because, well, okay, I do feel like I already know the answer, but I'll ask anyway. Do you guys think the Spider-Man 3 Venom interpretation is better than these movies,
Ooh.
or
Mm,
do you think
well,
they're just equal levels of trash, all three of like yeah, all three of them?
I I think I
All right, so all right,
think they. I don't know. You can go first, Rico, because
all
I'm still
right.
kind of thinking.
Sorry, I thought of it and I was like, just jump in. Sorry, but
You're good. You're good. Go for it.
so with the Spider-Man 3, I feel like it seems like it's like really really terrible just because Spider-Man 3 is kind of like all over the fucking place, like because Venom wasn't even supposed to be in it. So it's like,
Yeah,
so they kind of shoehorned him in like last second and just kind of like, oh fuck, so we had to do it. But I overall, like, I do like how Eddie Brock, Topher Grace, how he like was like you could see him as an actual like character going through it, like hating Spider Man and being like, I just want this fucker dead, like that kind of thing. Like I want to ruin your life the way you ruined mine. Like he had clear motivation for doing the things he did, and
yeah,
the whole aspect of the symbiote having like a personality was not a thing. So it does take away in that kind of aspect, like the relationship between the two, because the symbiote's just a symbiote in those movies. It's not like it has like a personality or anything. But
Hmm.
comparing that to Tom Hardy's, because he had two movies, man, and I think I actually like Venom less after watching those two movies. So I gotta say, Topher Grace probably freaking best Venom we've had. Sad
in
to say, man.
retrospect. Oh shit. Okay.
Andrew, what about you, man?
Oh, okay. Well, Tom Hardy's Venom is definitely a bad adaptation for sure. Topher Grace, though, I wouldn't call his adaptation like the. I guess you could say it is the best because it is better written and it is more accurate to what Venom's character actually is in the comics in terms of like Rico was saying, like hating Spider-Man and all that. But I also think his adaptation isn't all that great either. It's not, it's not well done either. But if you had to pick one, I'm definitely with Rico. Like Topher Grace is the better choice. He is the more accurate Venom. He just was missing a lot of aspects that doesn't make him a good Venom adaptation.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, honestly.
Hmm. Because I think,
Yes.
honestly, I think if Sam Raimi wanted Venom to be the main villain, he could have done a fucking. He would have knocked it out of the park. But because Venom wasn't his focus and it wasn't a character he related to, it doesn't really work. And that's another thing, which brings back to the point we were talking about earlier about how if you need to have the right people behind this project, you need to have people who care about this character, who actually want to see it succeed, and also pay homage and respect to what the character is, even when they're taking liberties and making changes. But unfortunately, both adaptations don't have that person behind them. And it's no disrespect to like Ruben Flesher or Andy Serkis or Sam Raimi. They all did the best they could with what they had. But yeah, it's just that's a tricky thing.
Now, if we were to get like a Sam Raimi Venom Carnage movie, holy shit, I would
Oh
be
my god,
so behind that because Sam Raimi,
Dude.
responsible for Evil Dead, like he's a horror movie like icon, dude. Like he's
Mhm.
up there, dude. Like I would love to see what he would do with like gore, bloods, and buckets of it, just with Cletus Cassidy and just going in on it. Like even those moments where it's just like subtle horror, like stalking and like coming out, like oh man, dude, you could have seen some body horror. You could have seen like some crazy shit because. I mean, you look at the Doctor Octopus scene when he's under the scalpel.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's just a taste of what he's like known for. Like, oh man, dude, I would have loved it if they just wanted to like not like if they wanted to save Venom and just be like, hey, go crazy with this in a separate movie. I would have been so
Hmm.
fucking down.
Yeah, man, because Venom is like a perfect character for like any horror director to kind of like put their take on, but it
Yeah,
just
it
didn't work.
could.
Sucks, which sucks, but it's true.
I mean, honestly, I mean, we're in weird times right now. I mean, recently Sam Raimi came out of retirement to make Doctor Strange 2. So, I mean, I
Hmm.
don't know. It does give me hope that because he has expressed interest in wanting to make another Spider-Man movie. So I am
Hmm.
really hoping after this Doctor Strange movie 2 comes out, hopefully it does very well for him. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully it projects his career into other territories. I would, like you guys said, I would really like to see like a Sam Raimi Venom movie. And what's crazy too is because like I think I believe he didn't even want to do Venom. I'm very sure that was
Yeah.
like a studio
Yeah,
decision.
Venom. Yeah, the one of the producers, Avi Arad, he's infamous for kind of like ruining Spider-Man film wise, and he was the one kind of pushing for Venom. And Sam Raimi was like, "Well, no, I kind of want to focus more on like Sandman and New Goblin and all that." But Avi Arad was like, "No, no, 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 no. Venom is the character we need in the movie because fans love Venom." Which is a fair statement. Like, me and Rico are prime examples of that. Like, Venom's a fucking dope character. Like, of course people love him. So it
Yeah.
makes sense why the studio kind of implemented Venom into the movie, but they just didn't do it properly.
I mean,
Yeah,
obviously.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
Well,
Okay.
obviously, demand for Venom was high because he made $800 million in the box office. So it's like it wasn't an unfair statement for that guy to make. Go ahead, Matt.
Wait, what are you referencing, Rico? What do you mean?
Like for that one person in the studio to push Sam Raimi to include Venom in the movie, because if you look at Tom Hardy's uh, first Venom movie, it's like it made what'd you say 800 million or something like that? Like
850 million.
yeah, so obviously there was a huge demand for Venom. Like that guy in the studio probably thought like, hey, I know that people are gonna love Venom. Like we should do this, and there is a demand for him because he's a great character. People know that, but it's like Sam Raimi just didn't want to do it. Like he didn't want it. He didn't like how he was like losing control of what he wanted to make, and it suffered because of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I did hear like I heard he wanted to do it maybe like Spider-Man 4, like if he got that chance. Like I think that was like Sam Raimi's initial plan, but
Hmm.
Spider-Man 3 went the way it did, and it wasn't perceived well in terms of critical and audience perception. Well, actually no. I did look before we started this. I did look up the box office. It is besides the recent two, the Spider-Man No Way Home and I believe Far From Home. It's the highest grossing Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 3. So it did
Hmm.
make money, which is weird because they could have done it, but at that point it's kind of like, well, damn, too little, too late. Like we basically ruined our chance.
Yeah. And it's like
Hmm.
if we had a Spider-Man 4 Sam Raimi making Venom Carnage, we could have had Bruce Campbell as Cletus Cassidy.
Oh, that's an interesting casting choice. Yeah.
No, it would have been bad. But I mean,
Okay, thank God. I was trying to be
I
nice. I
wasn't
was
being
like,
serious. But I mean,
what are you? What are you saying?
yeah, anytime Sam Raimi makes a movie, he always has his boy Bruce Campbell in it, and I love him. So
Yeah,
Oh my
that was the thing
god.
though with Spider-Man 4 though. Apparently, there was concept art that was drawn where it was going to be like Bruce Campbell was going to be revealed as Mysterio, and Spider-Man was like turning him into the police or whatever. Like there was concept art and everything because Spider-Man 4 was supposed to be about like Vulture. Like Vulture was
Oh
saved
wow.
huh.
Spider-Man 4
Jeez.
after 3 because he saw how people didn't really like Spider-Man 3. He was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to come back with a banger with part 4. But he explained, I'd watched this interview where he talks about it, and he said that he was getting ready for Spider-Man 4, but the studio seemed like less and less enthusiastic about his movie, and they were like, "Are you sure you want to keep doing these? You know, Spider-Man 3 wasn't that great," and like, they just kept saying things like that to him, and he was like, "Do you not want me to make this movie?" And then eventually they just went their separate ways, and then they made the Amazing Spider-Man movie.
Ugh. And we all know how
Yeah.
that went.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh my
still love
god.
Andrew Garfield, but yeah, those movies were not that great.
He's the best part of them. I mean, no
Mhm.
disrespect to Homeboy, you're right, but yeah, those are also turds in the wind. I
Mhm.
can't with this Spider-Man universe, the Sony Spider-Man universe. I got to be clear right there. Yeah,
No,
because like
yeah.
everything the Disney has done at Marvel have just rejuvenated love for the character. Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't say Tom Holland's my favorite interpretation of Spider-Man, but my God, those movies do way better justice to the character than we've had in the recent years. So
Yeah.
And I
it
think
just got me curious on what the hell they're gonna do in the future because like even Venom 2 has their own set of post-credit scenes, which we can get into, but it just kind of like further convolutes the fucking shit here. Like I don't know what they're going for here.
and the thing that I think
Before we get into the end credit scenes, though, I just want to bring up one point that still bothers me about this movie. Why is Dan still there?
yeah.
Why? Why? Why is Dan even? What? And I just like I I don't care about Dan. I just don't care. Stop
Bro,
putting him in
even
these
Venom
movies.
doesn't like Dan.
Oh,
Nobody likes Dan. Dan's a piece of shit. I don't care if he's a doctor and he's a great guy. He's a piece of shit.
okay, my biggest gripe about that is that the Dan's girlfriend, fuck, I can't remember her name, but
And I think it was Anne.
and
And
she's
yeah,
shit, dude. Like she's in this
Mhm.
relationship with this other guy, and like she's basically breaking up with Tom Hardy, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna get married to this guy," and it's like. You're such a dick. That should have been handled like a long ass time ago before you even got into a relationship with Dan. And like
Mhm.
I don't understand like I would never marry someone that would be like that. Like, I gotta go
At
tell my
all.
ex I'm getting
No.
married. Like, I'm gonna go have dinner with them. Please don't make this hard. She's all crying and shit. Like, please, please. Like, I'm like, fuck you.
another
Like
weird thing
that's
too is that like the movie even. I'm sorry, dude. Really quick, but
no,
just
no,
like
you're
the
good. It's just
movie.
because
Yeah, sorry. Just like he freaking like the movie even acknowledges that no one likes Dan. The movie even talks shit on Dan. Venom talks shit on Dan. Like, well, I just don't understand the point of it at that point. Go ahead, Andrew.
I know. Oh no, yeah. I was just gonna. I also wanted to bring up the whole what was it? Oh, when Venom and Eddie Brock separate, and Venom goes
Oh,
to Coachella.
God.
I was like, why is this here?
Oh,
Oh, God.
Why is Venom at Coachella?
oh,
Why do
look,
I
he's
even
in a different
care?
setting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It just made me so frustrated because he was just like, in his whole speech. I don't know if this was like an ADR issue. I just could not understand what the fuck Venom was saying when he was talking into the mic. He was like blah 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 blah, and I was just like, oh, okay, what? I don't. I just it just made me very angry because then afterwards he's all simping for Eddie like, Eddie, I wish you were there. I was like, you just gave this whole speech about how you don't care.
That was a good voice.
Ah, I hate this. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
But
I try, I try.
circling back to what Matt said, like it's like he made a little joke saying, "It's like a setting that he's not usually in," but it's like if you
Hmm.
look at it, he's always in those kinds of settings where it's like he barely does any Venom shit. Like
Hmm.
he's not out here like patrolling the streets and like eating criminals or anything. Like it's super like limited in what you actually see of that. And it's like,
yeah.
oh wow, he's in this setting, like, but it's like you don't ever see him in anything else really. It's like I just I don't understand what their goal with Venom was.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a. I mean, I think they're just trying to go for like a fish out of water type of comedy. Like I said, with like, oh, ho, ho, he's in like a rave now. Like, isn't that funny? And it's because like they're not even like saying anything funny too. Like these jokes are like funny in no way.
Yeah.
Like it's just lowest common denominator fucking writing here with the jokes. And it's so
Yeah.
weird because like I said, as a service level person, like I know Venom is not like super comedic like this. Like I know he has like his turd in the wind lines, but it's not like this level.
Hmm. He doesn't even have lines like that in the comics at all. He does not say things like "a third in the wind." Like he doesn't say that stuff. It's just
Oh really? Oh that's not in the
no,
comic? Oh
no.
wow.
See,
Okay.
and that hinges back to Rico's point. Like,
Yeah.
if you make a bad adaptation of a character, people are going to perceive that as fact,
Yeah.
and that's not how you should do things.
And that's
Okay.
what like pisses me off about it too, dude. It's like they just chose this tone to go with Venom, and then they also had Cletus Cassidy doing all this like terrible shit, and it's like, what kind of movie is this? Like, you're not having them interact really or anything, and then they're going through this like love spat, and it's like, you're really gonna
Hmm.
waste our time with this? Like, oh man, dude, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, one thing that bothered me too was like Carnage's voice. He sounded too much like Venom.
Mm.
And the point is, he's supposed to be like the polar opposite of Venom in some regards. So it just his deeper voice didn't really work for me. I'm a sucker for the '90s Spider-Man cartoon version of Carnage with a high pitched voice where he sounds like a fucking psychopath.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the kind of Carnage I hear when I read the comics. Like I don't read them with that wabbly intimidation kind of voice because Carnage is intimidating not by his voice or anything, but like by what he does.
Yes.
So it was just that kind of like it bothered me. I was like, you're doing that because you want him to sound scary, but he sounds scary with a high pitched voice. Just look at like Pennywise or Joker. Like basically, Carnage is like Venom's version of Joker. He's a psychopath who kills because he wants to because he can. He doesn't care about, and that's another thing that bothered me about them making him a simp. It's like, why would he care about this woman after all these years? He probably would have just kept murdering people and moved the fuck on. It's just like I could see them possibly like having him have a love interest, but then he's like, nah, love is kind of boring, and then he just fucking kills her. Like that's something I would have loved to have seen, but they didn't fucking do it.
And it's very convenient that she has the power that would beat him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
fucking hate that. Ugh.
Hmm.
That's it again, it just to me that's just like the worst type of writing where it's just like I said earlier, well like you guys said, like fucking Carnage is a world level threat. But of course they had to write something in to nerf him to the ground in some way. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Like this is like kind of like it kind of reminds me of like Avengers Endgame. Like, don't get me wrong, that's a great movie, but you know how they
Hmm.
have to like basically get rid of Captain Marvel because if she was there, fucking fight would be over in like 2 minutes. But you
Yeah.
know they have to do some type of writing magic to fucking make sure they don't interact, or they have to, like I said, they have to write it in a way to fucking nerf Carnage and Venom, and it's fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah. And I also hate the tagline being in the movie where Carnage is like beating up Venom and he's like, "Let there be carnage," and I was like, "Really?
Yeah.
Really?" I was like,
Yeah,
well,
fucking.
why? What does this do? You think I'm gonna cheer? I'm gonna say fuck you. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and then the whole like dynamic between those two, like Cletus Cassidy's like, I just wanted a friend. And it's like, what is this direction
Oh.
with Cletus Cassidy? What the fuck? Have you guys ever
Rick,
read like any of his shit? Like what?
Rico, oh man, bro. Oh my god, you got me fuming because I felt the same way. I was like, he doesn't care to be friends with Eddie Brock. Fuck that guy. Like when Venom ate his head off and said, fuck this guy, I was like, yeah, fuck that guy because that's not Carnage. This is some bullshit right here. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Like that's not Carnage. Carnage didn't die. Carnage is still out there in the universe somewhere. That was just like that was like Zack Snyder's Doomsday. That's not actually Doomsday. That's just
Oh
someone pretending to be Doomsday. This is some guy pretending to be Carnage. That's just how I view Woody Harrelson's Carnage. It
Oh
makes
my
me angry,
god.
like I'm the Hulk. And I don't want
Like they have him out here like expressing his feelings like super sad and like I just wanted a friend. I just love this lady. Like I love her so much and like it's like dude, grow a fucking pair and be the person you're actually supposed to be. Like that sounds fucked up if you think about it, but I mean in this movie context, like he's a fucking like mass murderer, dude. Like he
No,
just
he's
exactly.
he is supposed to be the creature you fear. If you hang your foot off the bed, is gonna rip your foot off. That's what he's supposed to be. He's not supposed to be this little bitch baby simp saying, I just wanted some friends and I just wanted to love my wife." Like that's not Carnage. That's some poor imitation.
yeah,
And I
and
just it makes me so angry.
yeah. In the casting of Woody Harrelson, I knew that Woody Harrelson was going to be shown more than Carnage. Just because whenever
Hmm.
you have like these kinds of movies where you have like a more well-known actor playing these roles, it's no longer Cletus Cassidy, it's Woody Harrelson. And it's just like, oh my god, dude. And it's like you're seeing him way more than you see Carnage. And I just, it's like if you read a comic book, you're always seeing Carnage, and then very rarely will you see like Cletus Cassidy appear. And it's not like
Hmm.
he's in a fight or anything, and then just takes off his face and Cletus Cassidy speaking mid fight. It's always Carnage. Like I hate that these
Yeah.
superhero movies do that, and it's like you don't need to show your actor. Like just be the character. Like
You're there to act like you're not you. I don't need to see
yes,
your face. If it's
yes,
not
exactly.
absolutely necessary, I don't need to see it. It's like one of the I'm going to bring up a movie that has no correlation to this other than that, which is Dread, because we never see Carl Urban's face the entire time. He keeps the helmet on because he's a good actor and he commits to the role
Yes.
in the right ways.
I think they even said they asked him to take it off to show his face, and he legitimately was against that, and he was like, "No."
He was like, no, like, oh man, I just.
It's much
Comparing,
more memorable that way, honestly.
yeah, comparing that
Hmm.
to freaking Sylvester Stallone, where he never had it on.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
he always took it off to shout, "I am the law." Like that's all he fucking. That's all he was there for. And another thing that I want to bring up was that another thing I wanted to bring up was this is more of a comic book thing, but in the comics, Carnage doesn't do the we shit. He just says, "I am Carnage," and then Venom is, "We are Venom." So that's how you know Carnage and Cletus Cassidy are so much more in sync, which is another thing that bothered me about this version in the movie was because they were so disconnected. I was like, no,
Yeah,
these two motherfuckers should be vibing perfectly. There should be no weird like reasoning that they don't get along.
yeah. The Carnage symbiote actually has like different hosts other than Cletus Cassidy in the
Yes.
comics, and each
Hmm.
time it goes to like a different host, it ends up like fucking mangling the shit out of like that host. Like it eats their
Hmm.
organs and like just fucking tears them apart, moves on to the next one. He's like, the symbiote actually misses Cletus Cassidy because this is like when Cletus Cassidy's like presumed dead and everything. Or I think he actually is dead and then gets brought back to life or
Yeah.
something. But
Hmm.
during that, like the symbiote was like that was my person, that was my one. Like, and it wasn't like hella like hammy how it is with the Venom and the Venom relationship, how it goes like that. But it's
Hmm.
like he loves fucking Cletus Cassidy. He loves how fucking crazy he is because he feels hella free during that, and
Hmm.
it's like that
I think
was never
I
shown.
think correct me if I'm wrong, Rico, but I think what didn't Green Goblin get taken over by the Carnage symbiote at some point, or by like some symbiote? I can't remember
Was
exactly.
that consider? Was he like Red Goblin or something?
So something like that,
I
but I
can't
don't remember.
remember.
Was it the Carnage symbiote or was it a different one? Do you remember for certain?
I
Because I
can't.
can't remember right
I honestly can't remember. It's either Carnage or Toxin.
now. Oh, you know what? It might have been Toxin. It might have been Toxin because the symbiote color was more similar to him than it was to Carnage. Actually, now that I think about the look of Red Goblin more or whatever he called himself in that comic run.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a long time.
Hmm.
Oh, what'd you guys think
Do
of?
you guys ever think? Oh, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead, Rico.
Oh,
what'd you guys think of like the fight scenes compared to the first movie?
Like I said, that's the one thing that I would say I prefer this movie over the other two. Yeah, I do see like the bastardization of Carnage, but like I said, I do like the action sequences more than the previous one. Like I said, at least there's a contrast. He's a different color. It looks a little bit better.
yeah.
What do you think, Andrew?
I I did enjoy the action scenes more in Venom. Let There Be Carnage. Like I do like the prison escape sequence with
Mm-hmm.
Carnage. That was really cool, and the build up to when he's getting euthanized because they're like, "Well, you're sentenced to death. Cletus Cassidy, prepare to die." And then the symbiote stops him from dying from being injected, and he becomes Carnage. Like all that is really cool. The only thing that kind of confused me and made me laugh was like, well, why did he turn into a tornado? I don't I don't know why that is something Carnage would do. Maybe because he's crazy, I guess.
Some
Because
fucking mask
I also
shit.
rewatched, yeah, like I rewatched like scenes from Venom 2 on YouTube or whatever before this too. I watched that sequence and I forgot he turned into a tornado, and I was like, what? What? Why? Why is he doing that? I don't understand. Like the most I could think is like because he's crazy, but even then, his crazy is more calculated. I don't feel like he would just create a tornado because he wants to or because he could. It feels weird.
It just seemed like Jim Carrey's The Mask. Like it was just so cartoony.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect way of putting it. Yeah, he felt like Jim Carrey's The Mask. It wasn't, except just worse.
Yeah.
And I did
Yeah.
like the church fight scene too. The church fight was actually kind of good until it started getting bad towards the end. But I kind of liked throughout the fight when like they were fighting like as themselves, and then mid punch or like mid throw they turned into the symbiotes, and I was like, all right, that I enjoy that. That's cool.
Even then, I
It
Yeah.
still
just
feel
wasn't
like they were like really
done.
depowered. It didn't.
Yeah.
It should have been more.
Like I like Cletus Cassidy's transformation into Carnage in the church, like the lighting, the way he kind of it feels like the Lovecraftian creature transforming, or like John Carpenter's The Thing, like just the way it looks. It feels very like unsettling, and I like that. And I also like when Venom rushes him and he starts throwing those like symbiote spikes at him. Like that's cool. But yeah, other than that, I can't really come up with like any great standout action scenes in this movie aside from those two.
It's interesting you bring that up because those were some influences going into the production of this movie. I think Ruben
Okay.
Fleischer cited freaking John Carpenter and David Cronenberg as inspirations for Venom. So you reminded me
Mm-hmm.
when you brought that up. I was like, oh shit, that actually does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate that it's in a movie like this. And like
Which is.
another thing too.
Mhm. Oh,
Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
you were saying that?
I just don't like that Venom is all CGI. Like, if those are going to be your inspirations, then why didn't you go like a more practical effects route? Which, don't get me wrong, I understand Venom's doing like a lot of action type shit. You probably just want to do CGI because it's a lot more. I don't know. It's much less time consuming. I'm not sure, but it looks bad in my opinion. I don't think the CGI's in these movies look great.
Yeah, I agree, and which is why I find it interesting that Ruben Flesher said that because it's like I don't see it. I don't see
No,
that
yeah,
inspiration from Cronenberg or John Carpenter at all. Like it just feels like I see that more in the second one, which is the one he didn't direct, but I only see it in that one scene with Carnage in the church, and that's it. Like I don't see it anywhere else throughout these two movies.
yeah. It's fucking weird. Like,
Hmm
I can kind of see it with the Venom character, with how goopy it is, but other than that, yeah, you're right. There's not much of that influence or style in the movies at all. They're just very tame, very basic, very let's just pump it out. It's just another product of a movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, pretty much. I just remembered this too because I was looking at my notes. I totally forgot about this subplot, but apparently, do you guys remember that the detective that was like hounding Eddie Brock or whatever to be
Oh,
like, where
Mulligan.
he's just like, Yeah, Mulligan Reed's you're a loser, Eddie. You're a scumbag, like
Yeah,
that guy who sounds like he's from New York, but he's in San Francisco for some reason.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like I didn't remember, but him and Cletus Cassidy's girlfriend have a connection because he was transporting her to a prison or something, and she yelled in his ear, and he lost hearing. And he has like a hearing aid throughout the movie, and I
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
forgot about that plot point. I was like, "Holy shit, that was there, huh?" And
Yeah.
I still don't care for it.
No, exactly. It's not like it added much of anything.
It really didn't.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, are there any other things you guys want to bring up about this movie, or do you want to wrap this one up now as well?
So,
Let's let's wrap this up, please. Or actually, never mind, Rico. You got
I would
something to
just
say.
like to ask Andrew one question. So, Toxin, because I kind of stopped reading a lot of like those kinds of comic books when Toxin kind of came around. Toxin is Detective Mulligan, right?
I think so. Yes, yes. I think that's his. That's why they have Mulligan there as like an Easter egg to that. Because I think Cletus Cassidy's girlfriend is also a symbiote. Like I think she's supposed to be Screech or something, or whatever that yellow
Shriek,
girl
yeah.
symbiote looking one is.
Yeah, yeah.
Screech. There we go. Screech. That was her name. Screech. Yeah.
I mean, they already wiped out the possibility of like hybrid, but I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. No way hybrids ever coming out.
yeah. But I mean, I was wondering, like, what if he becomes like his own standalone movie?
Oh God.
Because he gets Carnage's offspring, his spawn, and then becomes Toxin, who's like trying to be
Hmm.
more of a hero because he has a better base than uh, the Cletus Cassidy one.
Right. Yeah.
Even Spider-Man tries to like watch out for him and everything, like try to like inspire him to be a hero.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. It seems like Sony is gonna make a Toxin movie, or maybe just
Really?
have
Really?
yeah. Because remember,
Like confirmed?
not confirmed, but at the end of Venom, Stephen Graham, his portrayal of Detective Mulligan, he's actually like lying, like it looks like he's like dead or something. But then the symbiote from the spawn from Carnage goes into him, and then he opens his eyes and does all that. But
Oh.
yeah, so I'm not sure if they're gonna make a standalone movie with him or if he's gonna be Tom Hardy's like third person or third movie
I
like
think
character.
I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be like Tom Hardy's third movie villain or something because he doesn't like his character doesn't like Eddie Brock or whatever.
True.
Wait, so that was in Venom 1?
Venom 2.
Two.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, yeah, like a lot of these movies, I don't remember some scenes. I'm sorry.
Trust me, dude. Like
You're
once we're
good.
done with this, I'm gonna forget most of it. Like I just had to
Yes.
refresh myself for this podcast.
Hmm. That's the only reason I did any research on any of these movies because we were gonna talk about it.
Yeah, we don't have to ever talk about these again after this, boys. Pain will be
Thankfully.
over.
Thank you. Thank you, God.
You guys want to get into ratings?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Let's do it.
All right. Well, Andrew, you introduced this one, my dude. Go for it.
I did introduce this. So, a 1 out of 10 because I fucking hate this movie. It does not deserve the light of day. It did not deserve any of the money it got, and it definitely did not deserve to get my money to see this because I saw this in theaters. So I'm very angry and very petty. I'm very petty about this. So fuck you, Sony. Fuck you, Cletus Cassidy, Carnage in that movie. I hate you both. You deserve to burn. That's my rating on Venom. Let there be.
Give it to Marvel already.
Please do.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Please do. And,
One
Matt, do
thing,
you want to go?
really quick, Rico. No, I just want to say, like, even Disney recently, like, they added the Daredevil, the Punisher,
Mhm.
the Luke Cage. They added all those to Disney Plus recently. So, like, again, like, I don't know. There's no reason we can't get like our like just an R-rated material. Like it's just it's just ridiculous at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm sorry, Rika. I just wanted to get out that point that like Disney is starting to slightly move in that direction.
Good.
So hopefully,
Yeah. Do you want to give your rating for this one?
I won't be too long. Yeah, they're all shit. This is my favorite of the trilogy of shit. They're all bad. I like the action a little bit more in this one. The acting's bad. The writing's bad. The directing is pretty bad too. That was one thing I did want to know. Not saying Andy Serkis directed this great, but I was a little bit more of a fan of some of the transitions in here. I don't know, they were slightly more smoother, but hardly anything. Just a few gold nuggets and otherwise big pile of shit. 3 out of 10. It sucks.
And I'm actually gonna meet both of you guys in the middle with a 2 out of 10. I would give it a 1, but there was a couple parts that I thought were cool, like with Carnage doing the prison scene and then screaming. I was like, that was pretty sick. Like I was like, oh my god, hopefully this like turns the movie. It doesn't, but it gave me hope for a second. And but yeah, just the writing, the story, the portrayal of almost every character, like it just turned me off so freaking bad. Like you have the chance to make Venom and Carnage, and this is the freaking, like, this is what you brought. Like it pisses me off thinking about it. It's like, dude, you could have, this is like something that was asked for ever since Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Like everyone wanted, I remember on YouTube back in like 2005, people were making like edits on Spider-Man, the original trilogy's Venom, trying to make it seem like they turned him red and trying to make it seem like, oh yeah, the Spider-Man 4, it's gonna be Carnage, and they were like hyping all this stuff up. I remember back then all these things that they were trying to the fans were trying to push for it. You remember that?
Dude, you just reminded me about how I saw one of those fan edit posters, and at the bottom it said Jim Carrey as Carnage, and I was like, as a kid, I was like, genius, do it! Now looking at it, I'm like, yeah, people were fan casting Jim Carrey as Carnage for a long time, like back in the day, after when Spider-Man 4 was still kind of like a possibility. A lot of people were fan casting him as Carnage.
Yeah, dude, that was a huge thing. Like people were saying that, like, oh yeah, there's like footage of Jim Carrey at Rikers Island, and like,
yeah,
like, can you imagine? That. Holy hell!
It's like people didn't at that time, like Jim Carrey didn't come out saying like, I don't want to do any like violent movies. I want to be family friendly at that time. Mm-hmm. So people were seeing, like, they were like, hella, like, that's gonna happen. He has the chops for it. Like, he is Carnage. Like,
yeah, a lot of people were fan casting him for a long time.
Oh man,
that's interesting, huh? Mm-hmm. Cool little fact. Thanks, guys.
But if I was to like rate all 3 of these movies, like which one I enjoyed the most to least, I would say I enjoyed Venom 1 more, because it's like it doesn't butcher it as much as Venom 2. And then Venom 2, because there's nothing that can be lower than fucking Morbius, in my opinion. But still, I hated how the portrayal of Carnage was. And then Morbius obviously was fucking shit. I had no enjoyment out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, dudes, freaking, I mean, I was giving praise on one of our episodes, the Spider-Man episode. Like, hell yeah. These are some, like, top tier fucking superhero movies. And then we get shit like this, spread out. Yeah. I'm just like, oh my god, like, really? Like, we're past this era of movie. Like, I'm really surprised, like, we still get this quality of level.
Andrew,
You
how
know,
would
you
you
would think studio.
Andrew, how would you rate all three, like from most enjoyable to least?
Yeah, well, what's your favorite, Andrew, of the three?
Well, it's definitely the first Venom for sure. That one is the one that commits the least amount of sins, in my opinion. But it still commits sins, so it's still a bad movie. After that, I would probably just put Morbius because I hate Venom Let There Be Carnage so much. Like I just hate it with such a passion, and it frustrates me so much more than Morbius did. And Morbius frustrated the fuck out of me. So that's how I would do it. It'd be Venom, Morbius, and then Venom Let There Be Carnage is the worst one.
Respectable, my dude.
Yeah.
Freaking yeah. That was uh that was the trilogy of turds, guys. Hope you all enjoyed that. Freaking we suffered through it, so well I don't know, I'm pretty sure a good amount of you suffered through it. Well, I hope you guys don't have to suffer through it again. I
Yeah.
hope us discussing it gave you guys some levity.
Yeah.
It did for me. Shit.
Please,
Hopefully the next trilogy
please.
we do is not gonna be shit and it's gonna be complete opposite of this.
No, we just need to stop watching Sony's Marvel characters universe. We just need to stop. Like Craven the Hunter, do not watch that movie. I don't care if Aaron Taylor Johnson's in it and he says it's the best thing ever. Do not watch that movie. I am boycotting Sony's Marvel Universe of characters right here, right now.
I'll,
Don't do it, guys.
I'll probably watch it. I actually love Craven the Hunter, but I'll still have hope. I'll hope against hope.
Damn it, Rika, you better watch Venom 3 then.
I'm the
And Morbius
problem.
2.
I'm the problem. I'm sorry.
Rico, you were supposed to be the chosen one. Bring balance to movie podcasts, not destroy them.
Oh fuck. No, yeah, man. I don't think I've well, I don't know. Do you guys think these are the worst movies we've talked about? I mean, I think these are the only ones you guys have given.
uh,
Um,
I still think Texas
No,
Chainsaw
well,
Massacre is the worst, but yeah.
I
What do
didn't
you
even
guys
watch
think?
that one.
yeah,
I
that
mean,
Andrew, you're at a disadvantage. You haven't watched it, so if you had watched it, it's like it's terrible, man. Like, yeah. Uh,
I don't know. I would say maybe Texas Chainsaw Massacre for that reason because I didn't watch it. I was just like, just seeing after we talked about it on the podcast, and I started watching more reviews just to get different perspectives too. And I was like, yeah, probably better I didn't watch this movie because it probably would have made me really angry too.
yeah, I would say Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a little bit better than Morbius, though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, that's a fair point to make.
Yeah, just because I did like the practical effects. It like
Okay.
remember when that one dude's face got cut up? I was like, oh shit! Like his fucking jaw's hanging off, and he's just walking around like that. I like that. That looked cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Freaking yeah. Hopefully we don't have to talk about turds in our next episode. Which well, that'll be our segue. Yeah. Well, now that we're done with the trilogy of shit, let's get into what we're going to discuss next episode. Which is it mine? I actually didn't even really think about it. Who did the last recommendation for
Oh, that was
Morbius?
that was me actually.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, you did the Blob in Starship Troopers, so it's my turn now, right?
Yep.
Yes, because I'm after you.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. Yeah. You're right. Right. Okay. For sure. Oh damn. I did not think. I didn't. Okay. I didn't think too much on a recommendation, but let me just wing it. Well, the one thing I do want to talk about for sure is a new movie of the week, which we have had quite a few in the past recent weeks. We might discuss 3 in the next episode, but for sure we'll do 2. But the one for sure I do want to talk about is for sure Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes, dude.
Like for sure that has to be discussed. And then the movie that I'll be recommending. It's been a while since I've watched it. It hasn't. Yeah, shit, it hasn't been watched in probably like I wouldn't say 10 years, maybe not that long, but I haven't watched this movie in a long time. But I have been wanting to get a rewatch in. Hell, I even remember watching this movie with Rico in the theaters years ago.
Really?
But I really wanted to get a refresher in because I haven't watched it in years. But I really, really want to talk about the Wachowskis' Cloud Atlas in the next upcoming episode.
Oh
man!
So yeah, freaking I do eventually. Well, with my next recommendation, I'll recommend a movie that none of us have watched, but I'll save that for my next recommendation. But I really do want to talk about Cloud Atlas. Lily, she recently made Matrix 4, so they do kind of had a somewhat recent movie. There's some relevance there, but yeah, I really want to talk about Cloud Atlas. I'm really, really curious to see how I would view the movie now.
Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't seen it since we saw it in theaters years and years ago. Man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
actually, I've never seen it, so yeah, okay, this will be interesting.
You're in for a trip, dude. It's very honestly, I haven't seen a movie like it since. It's very ambitious. I do recall it getting a lot of flack for certain aspects. Well, shit, I'm kind of tiptoeing around the plot because you haven't seen it, Andrew. I would want it to.
No, yeah, we could wait to talk about it more on the next episode then.
Yeah, just go into it blind.
Okay,
works for me.
Hell yeah. I also have it on. I do have it on Blu-ray. So I mean, if you guys need to borrow it, that's for sure an option. But
yeah. I mean, we could always just watch it together.
That would also be pretty fantastic.
We're gonna have a movie night, guys. You heard it here first.
And
fuck yeah! And it's not for some shit.
No.
Yeah, no. If we're gonna watch some shit, it would need to be like. We need to make a drinking game out of it. Like, oh, take a drink every time Leatherface revs up the chainsaw. Like I said, you be fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so okay, so yeah, that about does it for this episode. Next week we will be talking about Cloud Atlas and everything, everywhere, all at once. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at ampodcast01. And then our Facebook page is just AM Podcast. Make sure to give us a follow. Is there anything you guys want to plug in before we get off?
Yeah, actually, so I just created the Practically Done channel for YouTube. You can find that at Practically Done. And that's where we're going to be making a lot of our practical effects, where we take all the inspirations that we've seen from horror movies and pretty much put our own twist on it. We're going to recreate and adapt it to our own skits and everything. They will show a breakdown of how we went about creating it, all the trials and errors that went into it. And this is going to be a lot of fun. Anything that we just think is going to be cool to do, or even if it's challenging, even if the challenge alone is what we're going to do, we're just looking forward to making those videos and putting them out there and having you guys enjoy them.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. I'm super excited for Practically Done. Yeah, stay tuned for more updates on that, people.
Yep, we've been talking about it, and it's something we're all very excited and very passionate to do. And we cannot wait for you guys to see it. It's going to be super cool. And then you'll actually get to see our faces. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, gotta do like a little cast breakdown there.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. We'll do interviews and everything.
Fuck yeah. Bazinga, we did it. That does it
for
episode number 5.
Yeah,
yes.
5. Wow.
Yeah.
Freaking guys, this is our first. Well, okay, not like official, but in a way, it was our first trilogy. In a way.
Yeah,
it was
the first 3 of Sonyverse.
Yeah. Fuck. Hopefully, we never have to come back.
Yeah.
Hey, we still got a lot more members that got to be introduced to the Sinister Six.
Oh yeah,
Matt,
you're right.
Matt, don't do this, Matt. Don't make us review those movies next.
Wait, bro. Well, Okay, yeah, I won't ever recommend him. I'll just put that out there. But I don't know if Sony does come out with another Sonyverse movie, legit, I would be down not to talk about it. If like I would, I mean, like I said, if it wasn't for Morbius, I wouldn't watch it. It's like I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
Like I'm only watching it for the
Mhm.
podcast. Any other
Yeah.
circumstances, I would not watch that shit. Like fuck no.
Ah,
But like I
fuck
said
no.
earlier, I do get some enjoyment talking about the movies, your shitty movies, on the podcast with you guys. Like it does give me some levity after watching some heinous shit.
That is true. That is true.
I feel the same exact way too.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens, guys.
Hell yeah. But yeah, that does it for this episode. Yeah, stay tuned next week for Everything Ever All at Once and Cloud Atlas. Have a good night, guys. Peace.
Peace.
Good night, guys. See you later.